Hello, my name is Kevin Rigby, and I'm here today to share with you my research project which dealt with home funerals after death care. And it has become a prevalent thing where we're finding that more and more people are starting to try to take care of their deceased at home after they have passed away. And the article which I researched talked about a family that had a young daughter that was dying of a disease, and after the little girl passed, they took her upstairs, they gave her a bath, and then they dressed her in what was similar to like a communion dress. And this kind of reminded me of the Jews when they take and they bathe their dead, But when I went and looked at the article closer, the family was psychologically, I felt like, not actually realizing or actually facing the fact and the pains of death. They, after dressing her, they placed ice around her body. They placed her in the bed, and after dressing her, they kept her there for about 36 hours. And close friends and family were able to come by, and they would invite them to go upstairs to say their goodbye to the little girl. And it seemed as if they were just totally trying to eliminate the funeral director. But towards the end, we find that they did bring the funeral director in to help because the body was beginning to leak some fluid because of where the feeding tube once was. And they also used the hearse to take the little girl to the cemetery. And the more I looked at this may seem to be a prevalent thing, but I feel like the funeral director is one that will always be a necessity, because the family, I don't care how much they love an individual, they're not prepared psychologically or they're not prepared educational-wise to deal with the stress and the strains that go with the death. So when I viewed this article, I said, well, would this really work? For a few people it may work, and my mind came to realize that here, even in the state of Alabama, there was a guy, I think in Stevenson, Alabama, that buried his wife in the front yard, and I'm sure that he loved her. He was trying to care for her the best that he could, but he was unaware that the law in that city prohibited burying people in the yards. And the reason being was, where his yard was located, there was an overflow where the water flowed into someone else's well and close to another business, so it provided a hazard. So what families often don't realize are the laws that deal with it. And here in the state of Alabama, we're not allowed to do things such as burying in the yards. Some states' laws vary from state to state, but I know, for example, in New York, they require that a funeral director is used, and they require that they do the ending paperwork. So I don't feel that we can live or exist without the funeral director, because they've been trained and prepared to deal with people during the time of death. And even though we may love each other, even though we may love our family and our close acquaintances, I don't feel that the average person is prepared to actually do a great job of giving last and final rites to an individual. And I do feel like even the funeral directors are trained to give last rites, because the family really need this care after death, the counseling that takes place after the death, and also once they've buried the deceased, they still need some aftercare. And so the funeral director is prepared to give the aftercare, whereas the loved ones generally are not in that situation to have the knowledge to actually give counseling to themselves. I hope and pray that this presentation has been a help to someone to bring out an interesting article about things that are prevalent right now in the funeral business. And when we look at it, think about the psychological as well as the physical effects of death. Death can be a horrible situation, and it can affect us mentally, it can affect us physically. So we want to make sure that when our loved ones die, not only are we able to show respect to them, but also maintain a healthy and situation where we're able to deal with the facts of death, and it be done in a professional manner. Hopefully this has been a help to you. Thank you very much.